Hi guys, this is Ranjit, and in this video let's talk about some of the top gimmicks that I continue to see on mid-range Android smartphones. And sad to see that it even happens on upper mid-range Android phones that are close above 20 to 25,000 also. So let's talk about them. And there are 5, but I have one more bonus thing because I've noticed some manufacturers keep on doing that. So I'll also talk about that. And the first thing that you're very obvious is that quad camera setup that we are seeing on almost every mid-range Android smartphone. And you guys also know it's sort of a gimmick because yes, you have one good camera. Generally these days we are getting that 48 or even 64, and some are even giving 108 megapixel. And second, we have that ultra wide. Ultra wide, I would say still it's just 8 megapixel. It should be higher if you use it a lot, but still 8 is better than 5. But the other two cameras that I mostly see is that 2 megapixel for depth. Seriously, why do you need a depth sensing camera? A single camera can easily do the depth sensing with the image processing. Many smartphones do. In fact, many of these mid-range smartphones that have just a front-facing single camera do that depth processing. So that depth is such a gimmick. Then we also have the 2 megapixel macro, or they give that 2 megapixel black and white sensor. It's just to add stuff. So I feel realistically we're just getting 2 cameras, and instead of wasting money on those other 2 gimmicky cameras, they could improve the primary camera, give a better wide angle lens. So I hope the stupidity and madness of that quad camera stops, because I feel now most of the consumers are educated, but I still see that manufacturers are giving that maybe one great 64, 108, but the last 2 will be that 2 megapixel, 2 megapixel. I don't know when this stupidity would stop. Instead of that, give a telephoto lens or OIS. That would have been beneficial. Okay, let's talk about the next thing. And this I started seeing from last 1 or 2 years, and especially with a lot of Chinese OEMs. What they are doing is they are also loading their own app store, a custom app store within it. And here you have a lot of bloatware apps and stuff like that. Why do you need to do that? Android has its Play stores, and most users will be using it. So I see this trend of having a custom app store, and I think that this stupidity should stop. I hope it stops in 2020. Next thing is related to this, and this is happening a lot now on mid-range Android smartphones, and this started accelerating quite a bit last year. Fortunately, Indian government last year stopped it a little bit. A lot of spyware, junkware apps like those Chinese apps were being preloaded. Now most of them have stopped, but I still see a lot of junk apps being preloaded with these smartphones, and I've seen a new trend. Initially, when we get a smartphone as a review, we might not find a lot of third-party junk apps, but I've noticed that after 2-3 months, these OEMs actually give a OTA update, and it's a pretty big OTA update. A consumer might say, oh yes, cool, big update, but what they are doing is they are adding a lot of junk apps via that route. And the sad part is many of those apps are simply not even removable or uninstallable. So this is a sad thing that is now happening in the industry, especially in the mid-range smartphones, and I really hope manufacturers stop it. And users, if you notice it, complain, tag it on Twitter to these companies and say, you be vocal about it. Otherwise, we'll have the same ad situation what we started having. And next thing is that ad situation is still there. Xiaomi started it with the Redmi lineup of MIUI phones. Now they've toned it down a little bit, but that's still there. And I noticed now other brands also are actually giving unwanted notifications. Inside the notifications you get a pop-up or something like that. Indirect ads, I would say, that has started quite a bit, and this has actually spread to a lot of other brands also. I feel as of now only the brands that they don't do in the mid-range are Nokia, Motorola, and even the last Micromax phone, but Micromax just launched one phone. So others are doing it, and I hope this stops, because notification is a thing for important stuff, and here you are getting unnecessary notifications there in the notification. Yes, you can disable it if you're a power user, but I feel this is a sad trend that is happening a lot. Next thing is this is not for every mid-range Android smartphone manufacturer, but I've noticed that the actual earpiece quality is not as good as higher end phones, and this is such a small thing, the earpiece I'm talking about. And you can these manufacturers can just spend 300, 400 rupees more on a smartphone, maybe even less because they do volumes, and get a far better earpiece. And I don't know why they compromise on this one, because I've noticed, and this is especially with a lot of Xiaomi Redmi phones, every third variant, it doesn't happen with almost every variant, but every second or third variant I've noticed with the Redmi phones, the earpiece quality is not that good. And this can be easily migrated by putting, what do you say, better quality earpiece. And this is such a small thing. Just by adding about 200, 250 rupees more, they can get a fabulous quality earpiece, but they are still trying to compromise on that, which is the basic of a smartphone. You use as, I don't know, but I do take a lot of calls with a cell phone, and the earpiece is such an important thing. So I feel these mid-range smartphone manufacturers pay a little bit more attention on the earpiece, because that is one thing I find still lacking on some of the smartphones compared to the higher end counterparts, and it's such an important thing. And lastly, this is a bonus, I would say, and this is a trick that a lot of mid-range smartphone manufacturers do when they have a new phone. They hype it up a lot on social media, everywhere, and they'll announce a particular sale on this date, yeah, blah blah blah, first sale on 25th at 12 or whatever, and a lot of people will go online and try to do it, and they have very limited units, just a couple of thousand units might be there, and it gets sold out like this within a minute or two, and they send out press releases, got sold out within a minute or two. And what this does is this creates that scarcity for that phone. For example, you as a user, you might not be very confident about this one, but as you see, oh, it's getting sold out like this, you might be compelled to buy it even though you don't want to do it. And this also encourages black marketing. What happens is that when the availability is very less, many of the local shopkeepers will actually buy it, and they try to sell it in the offline market for higher margins. So I hope manufacturers stop this shady thing of having limited units during the first couple of sales. This is artificially what they are trying to limit it. So these are some of the things that I do not like with, what do you say, mid-range smartphones that's happening. What's your biggest gimmick, do you think, that you feel is on mid-range smartphones? Do let me know in the comment section below. Anyways guys, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and if you guys are still not subscribed, hit that subscribe button. This is Ranjit, and I hope to see you in my next video. Take care guys.